The market is giving us a small pullback today to end the week, and there are some pretty good altcoin entries out there if you feel like you have missed some of this run. And to be honest, the altcoin season hasn't even really begun, with Ethereum just starting its run and sitting at about 3,600 as of recording this. So in this video, I'm going to go over my top picks of altcoins in this market that I think are going to see liquidity flow back into them, and I'm going to give you 3 of my highest conviction plays in this video. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And before we dive deep into the market and the altcoins that I'm looking to DCA right now, be sure, if you are enjoying the content, to like the video down below. It really helps us get this video in front of more crypto bulls just like yourself, and subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you liking the increase in content quantity 5 times a week? That's what we will be doing going forward to make sure we all win and navigate this bull market correctly. And of course, a big shout out to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have some incredible sponsors from Blowfin, 𝗪𝗚𝗙, Reach Labs, as well as Nexus Labs. You can check out Blowfin if you want a centralized exchange option, no jurisdiction restrictions, no KYC. You can check that out down below and get a free sign-up bonus if you sign up for Blowfin. As well as Nexus, we have an amazing decentralized exchange platform here where you can trade perps on crypto up to 40x leverage, as well as the stock market, forex, major equities, gold, silver, etc. So check out Blowfin and Nexus down below in the description. And now let's just dive into the markets. We do see Bitcoin on a slight red day and some major altcoins pulling back. And some of the stuff that we do have a lot of conviction in has actually opened up for potential entries if you are bullish or if you have missed them to this point in time. So we'll go over that in just a second, but let's just filter some of the winners here on the daily chart. We see stuff like Blackhole, which, by the way, a big shout out if anyone got involved with Blackhole, because the yields are printing. But on top of that, we gave you this coin at 50 cents a few days ago when this thing launched. I said that this would immediately start a run to 100 million, and it's sitting at $160 million market cap today. And I think that this is going to continue to go higher. People are going to continue to bridge over it and buy Blackhole token to be able to earn those yields so long as they are so high. Right now, still sitting a lot of them over 1,000%. So really big win so far on the Blackhole token, almost a 3x from entry. So a big shout out for anyone who took that trade or is involved there on that platform. We have Wilder World up 21% today. We see Star Atlas, which I will be talking about later in this video. They have a huge summer catalyst coming up, and I think it could really spark a lot of interest into the broader gaming landscape. We see some AI coins and other gaming coins doing pretty well today. And look, I do think that right now Ethereum's carrying the market. When we look just in general, like we can go here and see the amount of adoption coming into Ethereum at this point in time. SharpLink Gaming just went out there today, biggest holders of Ethereum, by the way, and they just said, you know what, let's just flop it on the table and let's go ahead and buy another $100 million of Ethereum today. So they're absolutely crushing as far as setting the standard for an Ethereum treasury company. We always talk about the Bitcoin treasury companies, and right now Ethereum's carrying the market despite Bitcoin having a slight red day, almost down 2%. The fact that Ethereum is doing this well is propping up other altcoins, but there are some good entries across the board here, which we will talk about in just a second. But I just want to roll through. I mean, this tweet really sums up the crypto markets right now. I make it rain. This was from the official White House Twitter. This is how you know we're living in a simulation. Just seeing the White House post better content than most crypto projects and meme coins could ever dream of. So we are living in a wild simulation, and we're living in one of those once in a lifetime opportunities to create generational wealth. And whenever we say that, it's not even a pun. It's not even a joke at this point in time. I think if you have your hands on Bitcoin, you have your hands on quality alts throughout this cycle, and you navigate this correctly, you can legitimately make a financial change in your life that could make an impact for the rest of your life if you play this right, as well as just navigating how you rotate your capital, right? And make sure you have that accumulation in Bitcoin. Make sure you navigate taking profits as we go. And we harped on that a ton on the Wednesday video. So if you need like a psychological type of video, I would highly recommend after you watch this to go check out that video. Yesterday, the US House passed 3 major Bitcoin and crypto bills, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, as well as the Anti-CBDC Act. This is absolutely huge for just more institutional adoption on Bitcoin. We see Trump also opening the $9 trillion retirement market to crypto investments. So don't worry, Granny and Grandpa, they're coming in. They're going to buy our bags. So that is very good for us. I'm absolutely kidding. But still, it does open up a lot of opportunity for people who have retirement accounts, for example, who want to maybe allocate into Bitcoin, but they don't want to open up a Coinbase account or a Kraken account, Binance. That just seems a little tedious to them, and then they kind of have to do that type of process. This can go right into their retirement accounts, which I think is huge for adoption as well. We see Charles Schwab, obviously $10 trillion assets under management. One of my most used apps as far as the stock market goes. From 2021, they said Bitcoin is speculative. Crypto winter proves it's risky. Maybe some institutional exposure. Bitcoin ETFs are interesting. And now in 2025, they're launching Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. So this is happening so fast underneath our noses. We see Coinbase stock reaching a new all-time high for the first time since 2021. As mentioned, Ethereum's global adoption is ramping up, and this is how it's got the people feeling. If you know, you know. I don't really want to point it out, but everyone's feeling very much like Vitalik in this picture. Let's just say that as far as the Ethereum price. And I think once we eclipse those all-time highs, I do think alt season could really kick off. I see a lot of comments all the time, by the way, people saying, we're not going to have an alt season. I mean, the stats would show that it's going to be a Bitcoin dominant market. Do not get me wrong, but there will be a point in time where quality altcoins and utility coins and also meme coins, as unfortunate as that is to some people, are going to really have crazy runs. So I just want to prepare you guys for that, because the liquidity doesn't lie. That is just how the nature of the beast goes. And whether it's retail coming in like last cycle because of Dogecoin, it might not happen exactly that way. It might be a little bit of an, kind of a dumbed down version of an alt season, but I still think we will see altcoins run. So what I'm going to do, I think there's about 5 to 6 projects right now that I am just extremely interested in the short-term price action. So first and foremost, I'm going to do the low-hanging fruit. My number one would just be DCA, the quality coins that are in the red today. And honestly, it's a beautiful opportunity. If you've missed Hyperliquid, there's not many weeks where Hyperliquid is in the red over the course of its time. Like, this coin just does nothing but go up. So the fact that you're looking at a weekly dip during a market when Ethereum's doing this well, Hyperliquid's probably printing money as far as revenue goes on the back end. I think this will absolutely print whenever this does come through. So I love Hyperliquid on dips. I think this is a type of coin that has proven if you buy the dips on it, you will come out on top. So Hyperliquid down on the weekly, that is an opportunity. As much as you might think that $44, you've missed it, I think this goes to $100 plus by the end of this cycle, as well as 𝗬𝗎. We see 𝗬𝗎 down 4%, having a great month, but under that $4 mark, I really see $10 coming out of 𝗬𝗎 this cycle. So that is one I'd absolutely be DCAing as well. And then 𝗬. So like I said, the low-hanging fruit that is just super discounted right now. You're looking at red days, small red days, albeit, but only a 4% week also on 𝗬. And I think that AI coins are right around the corner. Like, once Ethereum does prop up to that all-time high level and altcoins start running, there's only a few narratives that are really going to catch fire in a way that is explosive right off the bat. And to me, one of those is absolutely the AI narrative. So I'm looking at 𝗬, I'm looking at Hype, and I'm also looking at 𝗬𝗎 on these dips. That is just low-hanging fruit, and I think that is pretty obvious at this point in time. Moving on down the risk curve, I still think, as I mentioned earlier in this video, when we go down here and look at the charts, we see Black Hole, which is sitting at that $160 million market cap level. I mean, this thing's still smaller than AIXBT, Moodang, Maple Stories gaming token, which has been basically nothing but down ever since it launched. AI16Z, Melania is worth more than this coin. Mantra, which basically rug pulled their holders at some point, they're almost 1.5 times the value of this coin. We have Grass above this coin, Mocha Network, which I love Mocha, but I think that this does deserve a higher valuation. And some of the logic for that, I think this is going to continue to go up. The flywheel effect of people buying this coin to be sure to earn the yields is only going up. But on top of that, we see the TVL growing. There's over 40 pools and 10 plus projects officially migrated to Avalanche because of this. And the amount of options on their platform are just endless for people who hold different tokens in the gaming niche, AI niche, etc. They're now aggregating through Trader Joe, which is the #1 DEX on the Avalanche network. So they're getting support from the #1 DEX, which shows you the #1 DEX sees this as one of the most budding and emerging plays in the AVAX ecosystem, and they definitely want to be involved. And look, this is a great psychological trade. And what I mean by that is don't get sucked in and put all your money over and over. It gets really easy on a DeFi platform to look at the yields and say, holy crap, like I'm going to liquidate my Bitcoin. I'm going to liquidate my Ethereum. I'm going to go all in because I think that these yields are going to change my life. And then you start doing the math of like, okay, get my calculator out. If I'm making $150 a day every day for 30 days, well, that could really, pay off. That could pay my rent, whatever the case is. But you can't look at it that way if you are going to come out on top on a trade like this. The way I would see it is it's just a really good psychological platform for the price to continue appreciating in this market. The number goes up on the charts. The yields are insane. It does give those 2021 vibes, but we're going to make sure we have a strategy to make sure that we just take advantage and take profits as this thing continues to grow before the yields start to also decay, because that's just what happens over the course of time in DeFi platforms. And I tweeted this yesterday. Yesterday, there was 50 million in total value locked on the platform, but it was only an $80 million market cap. The math tells me that it goes higher. That just made sense to me, right? And now we're looking at $160 million market cap on this coin. And I do think that this could go to 300 million pretty easily. And my logic there would lie in the fact that now there's 94 million in TVL. So given a 60% increase is where we're at right now, 90 million to 150. That's about a 60% increase in TVL to market cap. So I think this TVL is going to go to 150 over the course of probably the weekend, to be completely honest with you. The amount of bridging that's happening here on this platform, and that would at that point put the token, the black hole token, at about $240 million market cap. So I do see a target higher for this, but if you got in at those 50, 60, 70 cent ranges, a big congratulations, because this is absolutely a great play. But I also want to cycle this back into Super. And I love what Ghost posted here, that buybacks is a much better use of revenue than rev share. And I think people are also sleeping on the fact that, Superverse is the founder of Black Hole. And if we just go down here, no matter what you say about Super, the price action right now is stagnant. Over the weekly, though, and the monthly, this thing has done very well, up 46%. And the money and the focus in the market right now, as far as this ecosystem, is 100% on Black Hole. But what people are missing is that Elio had pledged to do buybacks with the revenue from Black Hole. Now their fees that they're generating are very heavy. I think that this is going to be a great flywheel. And I just tweeted this as I went live. But the flywheel of appreciation will be studied, because the next rotation here is going to go back into Super. So Super's stagnant right now because of the attention on Black Hole. But when Black Hole Foundation itself starts to support the Super token, the overarching business, this is going to be a harmonious cycle, as I said here, of liquidity flow. So I love both of those plays in synchrony. And on top of that, it goes without saying, with my red pillow in the background, I do think that Avalanche still is so undervalued. And this is bringing so much attention and liquidity into the AVAX network. And just looking at what's happening, the Wyoming government is testing payouts with their own stablecoin built on Avalanche. We see the biggest real estate deal ever on chain built on Avalanche. FIFA, the Federation of Football, is using FIFA for a L1, and they want to expand it based on their experience so far. We have some amazing projects as well coming into Black Hole and into Avalanche. This is 𝗪𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗘, which is from the team of Corpo World. So it's going to be an AI and a gaming generated project. This is launching on 𝗧𝗥𝗙𝗘, and I do think this has so much upside potential. Starts at a low market cap, and in this market, with the attention on AVAX and Black Hole, the fact that they're going to be potentially launching with Black Hole as a launch partner, and also just being on Avalanche, it's a perfect recipe for this to cook. And I'm really looking forward to the 𝗪𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗘 token, the 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙. And this does go live on IDO to begin this next week. So you will hear more about this token whenever that does occur. So far, I would be DCAing, a little bit of clips into Hype, into 𝗕𝗟, into 𝗧𝗥𝗅. On top of that, I think Black Hole, the target short term, should be about $240 million of FDV. And why? I think the TVL over this course of the next few days is going to grow from 90 to 150. And this has been trading consistently at over 60% of the TVL value. I also like AVAX and Super as eco plays within Black Hole because of that flywheel of value that is being created. And last but not least, I'd be looking at Beatdown gaming coins. I said this last video, but we see Off the Grid go live on Steam. We see Sappy Seals, an OG NFT collection. They're having 2 million players on their Roblox game. This is insane. Like, they're sitting around 2 million monthly active users, real players playing real games, and now they're integrated with Roblox. And then we see Star Atlas. Now, this is one that really is interesting to me because we see it pumping today. And I actually was able to talk with the team about some of their plans this summer because obviously I'm really in the trenches about talking to founders. I really, in gaming, have been trying to pick people's brains, what they want to do, how can we change the narrative, because that's just the honest feedback that you have to have. And the good builders, people like Off the Grid, like Star Atlas, like WAGMI Games, etc., they are very focused on changing the narrative and bringing back the vibes of gaming and also making it rewarding but not extractionary. And Star Atlas Summer, which begins now in 10 days from me recording this, they have 3 major catalysts, from game releases to different events, and also just something that's really going to rock the landscape of the gaming space. I really think what they're going to do is game changing. So I'm really looking forward to this. And there's a reason why the token is pumping. If we go back to these daily charts, I would be looking at Polis. It is the governance play on this token. But when we look at the daily chart, where did it go here? Up 31%, but still only sitting at a $25 million market cap. And I also think OG coins like this that are still building are going to do very well whenever the gaming market does get attention. And then moving on down the ladder, if you're degenning right now, the trenches are heating back up. We see coins like X1E. Now, this is actually from a NFT collection that has a lot of reputation on Solana. The founder is Bo on Twitter, Bo Trades, and the project is Market Elites. You can actually check out the chart here, 4.2 million. This thing did hit about $7 million on this wick. I know they have a lot of tech and trading technology built into this thing, and just knowing Bo's track record and the team behind this, I think this could absolutely go higher. I love a good project with good utility that is a little bit of degen, but also has good people behind it with good track records. So I'm looking at X1E. I do like this at $4 million market cap. And with the trenches heating back up, the liquidity and attention is really going into strong projects that come out of the trenches, and usually not just some meme like the Coldplay CEO thing. Like, there's no real meme that's going to come out of that that's going to go like a chill guy or something like that. But the market's really flocking to meme coins, trench coins, so to speak, with community and also product narratives behind them. So I'm looking at X1E at these levels. Even if it takes a little bit of dip, I know this coin's going to be here for the long haul. And especially if Solana memes really pick back up traction like we saw about 6 months ago, I think this will do very, very well. So that's what I'm looking at in this market, ranging from top level DCAs to what I'm doing on Black Hole. And I've seen some questions about the impermanent loss on Black Hole. So let me just go in here. If Black Hole keeps appreciating and your Black Hole is staked, you're going to lose black tokens in the form of going into the other token that you're paired with. So your dollar value does still continue to rise because the token is going up in value, and it's just rebasing you to be even in your distribution of liquidity. However, you are missing out on a little bit of gains from the token, which is why it's called impermanent loss. This is normal, and it's a risk you have to be willing to take if you're going to get involved with these yields. My recommendation, if the impermanent loss is just really throwing you for a loop, take a percentage out and just sit it on the side. Like, I have a spot bag and I have a staked bag. I also have my locked bag. So I have money in multiple places. One's just sitting in one of my wallets. One is, I have a big position in the LPs, and that's where I'm really focused. But if the impermanent loss is really shaking you up, because obviously the token is pumping like crazy, and it's probably going to continue to pump in this climate, I would just make sure you have a little bit in your wallet and just sit it there and make sure that you can take advantage of the upside without worrying about impermanent loss on a portion of your bag.
Well, that's going to do it for me today, guys. Those are the altcoins. Those are the narratives that I'm looking at, and especially the things that I am DCAing in this market and continuing to focus on. And I think right now, black hole has to be the focus. I know we've talked about it 3-4 times this week, but it makes sense. This thing is just absolutely ripping. But otherwise, I think there's a lot of good stuff going on within 𝗧𝗥𝗙, 𝗪, Hyperliquid, Avalanche, Superverse, etc. So be sure to like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. Let me know your thoughts. What are you DCAing? Are you enjoying black hole? Because I know that video yesterday got a lot of good feedback. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So like and subscribe to the video down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend, and as always, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and of course, have a great weekend.